Hello, my friends. One, two, three, go. Another live session with me, Hamas Siddiqui. I am a LinkedIn coach and a career coach based in Canada. And today's topic is very dear to my heart. And this topic is extremely important for all of us. It's all about mental health. So thanks for joining in. Whoever is with me today, please share your location and tell me who you are and where are you joining from. And I'll be happy to share your name on the screen so other people could also connect with you. These sessions are not only for sharing information and educating you, and so it's good. These sessions are good for me also because I learn a lot from experts during these sessions. But these live sessions are also excellent opportunity for all of us to connect and grow and learn and be part of a greater community around us. This live is going on my LinkedIn as well as on my Facebook and on YouTube. So share this live with other people because you will be helping them grow and you'll be helping them understand how important it is to stay mentally healthy. A lot of people, a lot of us focus more on our physical health. So eat great, eat a lot of protein or balance carbs, run, do exercise, but not many of us talk about mental health. Particularly in the past 2 years, because of COVID, a lot of issues around mental health um, are have emerged. Families got disturbed, students got upset. But frankly speaking, this issue about mental health has been going on for years. We often do not recognize it. We don't appreciate how challenging it could be. Just to talk about it, I've invited a very dear friend of mine based out of Ottawa, Youssef, who is an empowerment coach and expert in mental health, and he coaches how we can be mentally healthy and how mental health can actually help us grow in our career. While you can continue keep sharing where are you joining in from, and keep sharing the live session. I'll invite Yusuf, who is having I think is kava, um, onto the screen. Yeah, glass of water. Yusuf,
Exactly.
a very good afternoon to you, and it's such a delight to see you and learn from you. As I was telling the audience, the participants, often we forget how important it is to stay mentally healthy because it's our brain that actually drives everything around us. It creates our aura, it creates our behaviors or define our behaviors. How do we react, act, progress, and how our physical health can also be drived through our mental health. So thanks for joining in, thanks for sparing time.
My pleasure.
I would start by requesting you to introduce yourself. I've given a very little introduction to what you do, but please go ahead and introduce yourself while I'll display names of those people who are commenting, and we'll see a lot of them are from India, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. But yeah, please go ahead, Yusuf.
Sure. Sure. Well, thank you, Hamad, for inviting me to be here. It's really a pleasure to, and especially that you touched on a subject that's very close to my heart and to yours. I'm Youssef Skalli, so I'm an HR professional, and here HR it's beyond human resources, but HR here stands for human resilience. And I am an empowerment coach and a mental health advocate. I I moved to. I'm based in Ottawa, as Hamad said, and I feel that I'm friend with Hamad since long time, even though we didn't have the chance to meet yet face to face. But that's the power of human connections. So I'm really happy to be here and discuss with you and with the audience the importance of mental health and how it is tied up to our career development.
Absolutely. No, I think it's the alignment that we have, alignment to a cause, alignment uh, to a certain knowledge sharing, certain things that we do together that actually brought us together. As Yusuf said, we never met in person. I'm planning to go to Ottawa
Yes, please.
during the summer. Hopefully, it will happen because now we are opening up. No more COVID restrictions, and it would be a delight to meet you in person and learn from you, Yusuf. So my first question would be, in the introduction we said, how important, we often forget how important it is for us to stay mentally healthy. Um, Anything that you want to share that you experienced being mentally unhealthy that actually drove you to start like
Sure.
extensively working on this topic, and how your HR, like, there is not, I'm not talking about the resilience part at the moment, but your human resource element got aligned with this whole process, and how did it actually help you?
Yes, definitely. Actually, you said it well, Hamad, that we tend to focus on our physical health and our physical fitness. And we consider our mental fitness as a secondary topic in our life, while the two are completely connected. Personally, I was working for a great corporation and I spent 20 years in the corporate life. I changed career from finance to human resources, especially by my passion toward helping people grow, see them grow, and growing myself while helping others to grow. In 2018, while many would have thought that I was having the life that many dream of, I was still feeling something is missing. But I decided to ignore all the signs that were so obvious, and many people around me felt that something was awkward, something was not really going on. And for me, because all the stigmas we put around mental health, so I went through a deep burnout, and it took me a while to recognize it. We are not here to talk about my complete experience, but I want just to take this opportunity. I will be sharing my experience among other 17 amazing authors in one of the anthologies that PWT will be publishing soon in June, where we are talking about leadership without borders. And the mental health aspect in leadership is really present there. But allow me, Hamed, to go back a step backward. I would like just to agree on a common definition on mental health. And for that, I will use the definition by the World Health Organization, which states that the mental health is the state of the well being in which individuals realize their own abilities, they can cope with normal stresses of life, and they can work productively and fruitfully, and they are able to contribute to their community. I find this definition is really complete because it shows how mental health is present in every aspect on our life, whether at work, whether in networking and interacting with communities, and whether for ourself and own fulfillment. So this is really important, and I would like to share that we talk more often, as you said now, about mental health. So if this is something that the pandemic helped for, it's really to uncover that the mental health challenges that one can face. But as you said, the mental health challenges were there for years and since always. The latest statistics in Canada show that 41% of Canadians are considered high risk to develop mental health problems. So 41%. That means
Yeah.
in a group of 10, there is a likelihood of 4 people who are at high risk to develop a mental health problem. And 50% of Canadians, by reaching the age of 40, they have a high likelihood to experience a mental health challenge. So this is really something that's existing in all our aspects, and in it's there. It's something concrete. The pandemic just helped to uncover it and to make people to help to break a little bit the stigma and the barriers around talking about mental health.
Yeah. So again, if if I'm suffering, often we deny the fact that somebody's if you're suffering from mental health, you are mostly in the denial phase, right? You don't really accept it. There's something wrong with it. Particularly, I would actually, uh, you know, something that I would like to mention is particularly in South Asian economies. I'm not about the Far Eastern, but or Middle Eastern, but at least in the South Asian countries, in those cultures, you don't go to a psychiatrist, right? If you are you don't accept that you're mentally ill now, and that's probably, and even your family would not know that you're mentally ill.
Right.
In your view, so if I want to really analyze myself, okay, I'm not a doctor, an individual, but what are some of the things that I should really be like observing in my, so if I'm putting on weight, there could be a reason. I would observe, okay, I'm not fitting into my pants, which means that I put on weight. What are some of the key things, four or five, two or three things that you think we should really be looking at so that we know whether we are, I mean, if you're passing through a phase, we should know about it, right?
That's really a very important question. It's really how to identify and how to realize that you might be facing mental health challenges. And I would say, you asked for five, I give you one.
Okay.
Observe. Observe yourself and observe the reactions around you from your own behavior, your own attitude. And it's really being self-aware. I like to always give this image of the mirror, because we spend time to look at the mirror physically, our physics and our interior image, but we don't do the same exercise to look at ourselves from emotional and mental state of mind. So for me, it's really the feeling when you start observing your actions. Journaling is one of the best. When you feel something is just starting going different and you don't feel fulfilled, I always recommend start journaling, because you can observe a pattern. Feeling disengaged, coming back to work, feeling that you don't have the motivation to go in work, coming back in a feeling socially isolated and feeling alone, even when you are surrounded by people. And you mentioned it, people do not tend to think of it that concretely and do not tend to seek for help. And yeah, thank you for putting that. I would say that's what I use in my coaching practice. It's really practice to be great. And great stands for being grounded, being resilient, empathetic, aware, and being thankful. And here, what we mean by being grounded, it's really to be present here and now, to observe what I was saying, to observe your environment with you included in the environment. And being resilient, it's really to see how is your ability to adapt in the face of the different sources of the stress, because we live in a stressful environment, and that's a fact. It's our ability to adapt and cope with it. So it's really more to look at, if something that was just a minor source of stress yesterday became so irritating today, that's a sign. And I would say being empathetic, starting by being empathetic toward yourself. We tend all, by our human nature, to be willing to help others and forget to help ourselves. So starting by helping yourself so that you can continue to be able to help others. And especially here, I will in human resources, I will go to that because we tend to forget that HR is part of the organization. And HR develop many initiatives to help all the organization by themselves. The same applies to individuals. The other thing is really being aware, and again here starting by self-awareness. I'm putting self everywhere, and this is to do not confuse with self-care, to do not confuse it with being selfish. It's being self-aware and work towards self-care, and then being thankful. It's really practice to be thankful for what you are doing for yourself and what you are doing for the others and what the others are doing for you. And by that, you realize that there are many things around you that you can be thankful and grateful for. Definitely. And as you can see here, be kind. Be kind to yourself and be kind to the others. Definitely.
Yes, yes. And often I also see, particularly, I'm talking from, um, and some people may not like it actually. I think the social media itself is actually creating an environment of uh, unnecessary frustration and depression around us. This is what I feel, because we consume a lot of social media. We consume different type of like information which probably is not meant for us, but we are being bombarded with that information. Now, how do you what would you suggest to these people who are particularly youngsters? I mean, even people at our age, we consume a lot of social media. um, how do we actually focus more on the quality of content, and how would we know that the whatever we are watching or we're consuming is actually good or bad for us?
Yeah, definitely. Well, here you are touching a subject that it's where now our digital and uh, and real life are mixed together. They're merged. We are completely transparent in that. But I would say first start by liking yourself and don't seek likes from others. Uh, and by liking yourself, others will like you. So I think that's the first thing. We see a hunger in the social media after looking after attention and after like, and this is it's at the end what we are looking for. It's a self confirmation. We are looking to feel engaged and feel valued by the others. But I would say again, the starting point is really to feel engaged and valued by yourself. You value yourself and you will value the others. And if I come back to that, your credibility on the social media, it starts but by your own self-confidence and your own self-belief. So the moment you overcome any limiting belief that you may have through a balanced mental health, that will generate growth in your career, growth in your self-fulfillment, and that's what will lead to a mental health fitness, I would say. Again, I want just to precise that when facing mental health challenges, you have to be really, in my opinion, to be careful to do not confuse mental health with mental illness.
Yeah.
That's really key point. And don't be afraid to share because you are not alone. It's amazing the moment when I was diagnosed myself with a burnout. I remember I told my psychotherapist that she didn't know what she was talking about. That burnout, me? Of course, no. I'm a strong person. I am happy. I am the. She was like, okay. She gave me some resources to read, and I spent 3 days reading those resources, trying to find a way to go back to her after the 3 days to prove to her with my analytical skills and professional curiosity that she misdiagnosed me. And the more I spent reading, the more I realized that all what I was reading was just describing my state of mind and my experience in the 2 years before that diagnosis. So for me, it's really it starts by self-awareness, it starts by self-knowledge, and it starts by the intent. And this is why in my coaching approach, I follow those two topics of practicing to be great, and I follow an approach that it's Skalli, not only because it's my last name, but it stands for self-knowledge and living life intentionally. And that's really it's a process that's really important to reach stable and balanced mental health. Now, I would like to come back to the career development and how did the two tie together. As I was saying earlier, we all need to feel engaged and valued in our work. And the world of work is really changing. We live in an unpredictable world with so many changes. I mean, who would have said 3 years ago that majority of works will be done in a virtual way or in a hybrid way? We see a shift in the skills as well, and we are not talking anymore about a career. We are talking more about careers in a plural form, because that concept of the career is a highway with a starting point and an ending point is not anymore applicable, at least not to the majority. Today we look at the career more as a, I would say, a countryside road with multiple stops and multiple bifurcations. So it's becoming really a progressive process through the life of an individual. And it's not anymore what you have as a title or what you have as an acronyms linked to your name. It's more about what you are. And this shift, we see it more and more very present. So it's really when linking your mental health with your career, it's there is a grounding exercise to work on what you want to be, what you want how do you want to reach who you want to be, rather than what you have. And this starts by having an inner dialogue about yourself, about your values. We used before to almost when we are born, our parents are already had a dream for our career, which was not a career, it was mainly a title. And we would do everything to please our parents to look for that. And now it's we are shifting from asking the question that in which career I will fit to what career will fit me. And to reach that, it's really to see what talks to you, what helps you to feel fulfilled professionally and personally combined together. And it's here where the mental health state join closely and tied up with your career development.
Yeah, so Youssef, great, thoughts around that, particularly the self-limiting beliefs that people have. I can't do it is most of the time what we hear. What I also see and share with all the groups that I kind of get engaged with is that if you are not keeping your camera on a Zoom call, I mean, that's a wrong sign. I mean, why are you doing it? Unless you're in your jamas or you're in your bedroom, whatever. You have to be out there and be seen. You have to really engage with people. You have to learn from them. The opportunities to share and to learn and to be more aware, I think, are more phenomenal now as compared to when I was growing up, 56, 57 years ago. The societies that we are coming from are more, I would say, close societies still, and pretty much whatever we became at the end of the day is all determined by your parents, really. Uh, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I won't say anything wrong, but self exploration is a process that you need to really start looking at a pretty young age. Just to give you an example, how environments change your personalities. Um, so when we finally settled in Canada, my younger one was in, well, we took her to school for admission in her ninth grade, in her 10th grade rather, 10th grade. And so she was sitting, and she got the admissions, and she was selecting her subjects. And so somebody who came from Pakistan, just like 2 months ago, within 2 months she was able to think through and pick her subject. So she did so, and I was surprised. She's not asking me as a parent. I wanted to be part of that selection process, but she did not ask me. She was talking to the vice principal, and she selected her subjects, and she was very happy with that. And when we came out, I said, no, you should have taken this subject or that subject. And she simply said, I didn't like it. So that was like, the level of self awareness really grows when you are in a different environment. And the when I asked you about social media, my thinking is that your personality is usually defined by the group that you are with. So try to
Yeah.
try to
Uh,
kind of focus on the positive side of things, rather than getting into too many depressive or depression filled discussions.
yeah, definitely. I was coming to that. But the the story that you just shared is really very powerful, and it reminded me a friend who an architect who recently we were discussing, and he said, well, I saw that you moved from the corporate world to a different path. I said, well, for me, I see it as a continuity, but I just feel I'm doing what I am happy to do, and I see that it's bringing value to my coaches, and it's really fulfilling for me. I said, well, I envy you because I'm tired of being architect. And I said, well, you can change. I said, I always thought that you love architecture. He said, no, I did just architect because I didn't want to be a doctor. I said, like, what does it mean? And he replied that because my parents wanted me to be either a doctor or architect. And then again, the question is, what do you want to be? I don't think any parents would be happy to see their child unhappy.
Yeah,
So, what's the point of your daughter doing something that you want her to do and she's not happy doing it, and that will make you unhappy at the end? So that's for me very simple. But coming back to the social media, and not it's not only the social media, it's the social in its global thing.
yeah,
It's really surrounding yourself by the people who not only are cheerleaders. We all need cheerleaders, but at the same time, we need people who can help us to mirror ourselves and who can help us to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn new things. I would like to quote here, I think it was Alvin Toffler, it's an American futurist writer, who said, wrote in his book, I think it was called Power Shift in the 90s, where he wrote the illiterate, so I'm talking 32 years ago. He wrote the illiterate of the 21st century will not be the ones who cannot read and write, but the ones who cannot learn and learn and relearn. And I find that so powerful. And learning, it's part of it is really learning from each other. It's sharing experiences, and just the same way how you and I we met Hamad, and since then we learn a lot from each other, and it has been just a blessing. So for me, tied in up with the mental health, it's really surrounding yourself by a social support system. And what I call social support system in that context, because it can has have different meanings, it's really the people you are networking with.
Yeah.
And the idea is not to have 1,000 friends, but it's to have meaningful connections that can help you grow and that can help you feel valued and feel engaged again by really giving from yourself and taking at the same time from the others. And I can't think of networking without thinking of you, Hamad, and what all the time and dedication you do to help people to learn, because it's a skill. It's definitely a skill, but it's not a skill just to have a badge, and that's the beauty of it. It's a skill for your own well-being. And I'll I know I'm mindful of time, Hamad, but I want, just since you mentioned the story, and it reminded me, just for the new immigrants to Canada, for example, or to any country, the natural behavior is that we go through our community.
Yeah.
And many times, in my case, I say it always, the first advice I was given, it was like, you know what, life is difficult in Canada, forget your past, you will have to start from scratch. It was all negative thoughts. And that was my first day in Canada. But luckily, in parallel, I had a parallel network or social support system that were just saying the opposite. That no, it's that if you work hard, if you work, you stay authentic to yourself and to your values, you can find your way in Canada. And I decided to follow the second group and to network with the second group. And I find that it's really the key for any I would say growth mindset. And by growth, we are not talking about tangible assets, we are talking about the intangible assets that are the most important.
Exactly. And you very nicely mentioned and appreciated, and I really appreciated connecting with you and our long conversation that we had. Um, and it's all about I would say bilateral to begin with, and that bilateral actually grows to what we are doing now. So if we have 20 odd people listening to us, and then many more will watch this live pre-recorded later on YouTube, Facebook, or on LinkedIn. This is our voice reaching out to these people. So we are helping them by devoting our time. And that's one of the most satisfying things for me. We all need to make money. This is economic world, which means that we all have to earn to pay our bills, and the concept of free doesn't exist. Anybody thinks YouTube is free, anybody thinks LinkedIn is free, anybody thinks uh, healthcare system is free in some countries. It's actually not free. Somebody is paying for it, and those consuming that content are paying in shape of their time. So when you're paying in shape of your time, and if you're not learning, which means that you will never be earning as well, right? Because I remember somebody saying to me, learn because there is an earn in learn. So it's a process. We have to be part of it. Networking, for instance, is a process that we have to be part of it. And what I really loved, when you said, you have self-awareness, and often people really do not appreciate how important it is to be self-aware, and they get often confused. And to me, the process of self-awareness is very simple. It's just thinking what you are good at, what you really like doing, and what your passion is, and then aligning all these three things with the resources that you have. Or if you don't have resources, bootstrap, build those resources in shape of talking to people like Yusuf, you're talking to other people that are part of your network, and try to find exactly how you can build your collaterals, because the next stage is going to be your collaterals, which you will use in achieving your goals. So we have a question for you,
Yes,
Yusuf,
sure.
from Rafe. How can a bipolar disorder live a healthy life? I think that's the question that
Yeah,
that
I can
that we have.
I can see the question. Again, I'm not a professional mental health provider. I'm a professional mental health advocate. I work on the awareness, increasing the awareness. So you can call it a kind of bridge between you and the professional health. So, but definitely for that, and this is why I mentioned, and I see that Raki, she realized, she emphasized on that, is that mental illness to do not be confused with mental health wellness.
Yes.
So a person can have a diagnosed mental illness but still be in a good stage of mental health wellness. And why is that? It's through the medication and the professional help that the person can get. While a person, and that was my case personally, that before I was diagnosed with a mental health issue, so I didn't have a mental illness, but still I had a mental health issue. So it works in that way. If you have a mental health illness or a mental illness, you mentioned in the question bipolar, but it can be any mental disorder, and you are being treated, and you dare to seek help, and you are being treated and followed, the medication and the treatment and the therapy can help the person to be in a good mental health stage. This is why seeking help is really important. And this is why I like what Hamad just said about self awareness. And this is exactly what I follow in my coaching approach that you can see here, the self knowledge and living life intentionally. It's really, it starts by there. And if you are self aware about your mental health status, and that will be the first step to seek help, to talk around, and really to break all the stigmas. I say that and I repeat it because it's really important. We have an opportunity, I would say. Unfortunately, it came by the pandemic, but it's still an opportunity. And that's the power to see opportunities within challenges, that the taboos and the stigmas around conversations about mental health are being broken. Now that we are hopefully at the end of the pandemic tunnel, we need to make sure that we don't go back to where we were in terms of mental health awareness, that we keep being aware. And I repeat it, it's really practice to being great. So when you come back to this life, look again on being great. It's really being grounded, resilient, empathetic, aware, and thankful. That's really very important. And I see that that's the pathway for your professional and personal fulfillment.
Awesome. Um, any more questions? Anybody who's watching this live now, please ask question, and please connect with Yusuf. He is an amazing person and a great resource for us to continue learning about greatness and this great thing grounded in empathic and aware. Very very important things to do. Um, Often when we are doing our things in our corporate lives, in our family lives, we just do it rather than thinking about it. What will be the impact of what we are doing? How will it help or doesn't help us or others, people around us? Behaviors at workplaces, you're dealing with your families and friends. um, if you map it, and God has given us, or the nature has given us, the capability of thinking, um, uh, and that capability of thinking is unique. in human beings. Animals don't have that capability, right? So as a human being, if we do not do not behave like a human being, we are probably like animals, right? Because animals have certain things, they would do it, and they will just consume their life that way. So as a human, you should be self-aware and be aware of what your circumstances, your environment, and whether with your behavior you're actually impacting yourself or your surroundings. That's really important. And as you said, I connect with the community that I have around me on social media, um, and I try to help them think through. So my posts are usually talking about something that I have learned uh, on that day, and every day is a great day for us to start with one learning at least, or one appreciation. So when we start appreciating people, when we start kind of either building communities or be part of those communities, working towards a cause, I mean, you change, your mental state changes, you feel more empathetic, you feel more fulfillment when somebody achieves it. I share with you a story, Yusuf. Somebody reached out to me on Facebook. I'm not very active on Facebook, but anyways, I have an account, and about good 20,000 people follow me there as well. Um, so, and he wanted to discuss something with me, and I always respond. And we started talking, and he told me something that really amazed me. About 15 years ago, he said, you helped me find my first job. I said, I don't even remember you. He said, no, because, and then he referred to what job. So I knew who he was talking about, the gentleman. So he was Google's representative in Pakistan, who then started his own agency, a very pretty big one. Said he actually was looking for some resources, and you posted those resources onto your Facebook, and through that resource, I applied and I got the job. So you actually were instrumental in getting me my first job 15 years ago. Now, think about it. I just did it without being greedy. So I had no greed. I just wanted to help few people. And I did not even know that whether, I would actually help someone. I was just doing a post. So if you are still struggling, anybody, in the community that is around me today, thinking what to post, how to help people, you're just one nice sentence, one thank you, or sharing one piece of information can help people. So that guy, that gentleman, 15 years now, he's grown. He owns his own agency, and he's very famous guy. Telling me, Hamad, you were the guy who got me my first job is such a great feeling. I
True.
actually thanked, you know, sh- showed my gratitude, um, and so you all can achieve that feeling, and that actually helps you mentally, because this is fulfillment, right? And when you show gratitude, you get more of it. You get more pleased with yourself, um, and this is what I think we should all be doing. This is what we should really be practicing. Great, yeah, be great, and practice that. Yusuf, parting thoughts. I don't think we have any more questions coming in. But by the way, if anybody has any question, you can always shoot off your questions privately to Yusuf, and I'm sure he'll be delighted to respond. But connect with each other, because this is an opportunity to expand your network and find some more interesting, meaningful connections on social media. But Yusuf, your parting thoughts.
Well, I you got me in a subject that I can talk about for hours and hours and hours. So if you leave this live open, I think I will not stop. LinkedIn will block you. So I would just say that you may be wondering what career development and mental health has to do together.
Yes.
Think of it, it's a cycle. It's a chicken and egg cycle. You need to be in a good mental health state to be able to focus and have clarity on what you want to be and not what you want to have. And you need to be in a and having moving forward that intention and that goal provides you self satisfaction and provide you a good mental health, fitness, or wellness. So it's really a connected cycle. My last thought for that, I would say, as Hamad mentioned, feel free to connect, feel free to reach out, and never underestimate the power of questions. Never underestimate the power of asking and give the others the opportunity to say yes or no before of the fear of no. And you will see that most of the people you will connect with will tell you yes for if you ask for help. The other thing, it's very important to surround yourself. I will never get tired of repeating it, by strong social support system for your well-being, and also have the go-getter attitude. Don't wait to be served. Go and serve yourself. It's not an a la carte menu, it's a buffet. So stand up, go and help yourself.
I loved it. It's not a la carte. It's buffet. So which means that there are hundreds of dishes, and you can actually pick and choose what you really want for yourself. And this is exactly what I did. This is exactly what Yusuf did with his career, and this is what I did after like extremely rewarding. We both had extremely rewarding corporate careers, traveled the globe, helped
Yeah,
many people grow in our teams and whatever. Um, but we both pivoted. We both wanted to do something else, and actually, I always say, Canada actually provided me, forced me into my entrepreneurial career, and this is actually is so rewarding for me. I actually enjoy every bit of it, and so do you, Yusuf, and that's really fulfilling. At the end of the day, a lot of people talk about, and it's capitalistic society across the globe almost now. A lot of people talk about making your first million, and believe me, we all can make it. But does it really matter? Think about it. How
yeah,
much money do you need to survive? And when I shared this with one of the coaches who wanted me to convince that I have self-limiting beliefs, and she said, you don't want to make money. This is a self-limiting belief. I said, no, you actually don't understand me, and this is kind of, I almost said you're labeling me. I said my belief is different. My belief is that I want to reach out to more people, and the money will be a byproduct of that. But my
exactly.
focus is not really making a lot of money. My focus is reaching out to more and more people so that more and more people uh, are served, would learn, and this is how I would build my trust. And life is
Sorry,
very
Hamad.
simple.
Sorry, Hamad, I would like just to say, because you mentioned something very important. I would say, coming back to the image of the highway I was mentioning at the beginning, running after money will make you take the highway, but you will miss all the beauty of the countryside road.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. So thank you very much, Yusuf, for
Thanks
your
to
time,
Hamad.
your golden nuggets that you shared with us today. I would encourage everyone to please become more self-aware, and think what you are good at, and build your resources to become kind of achieve excellence in what you do, regardless whether you're in corporate career or you are a teacher or you are a social media expert, whatever. You can excel in your career, staying mentally healthy, which means staying self-aware and experiencing and practicing empathy, helping people. And one thing that I love about Indian society is volunteerism. People really volunteer and spare time to help others. Last thoughts. I was reading, and this is one thing that I share in my coaching as well. So Deloitte did a study, Yusuf, um, some time ago, and they reached out to a group of headhunters, recruiters, and CEOs. And the question was very simple. They said, okay, you have a vacancy and you have two sets of potential candidates. Set one, very experienced, but had no volunteering experience. Set two, experienced, but with voluntary experience. Who would you pick or who would you prefer? And 80% people said they would prefer someone with volunteering experience. And the way I decoded that, volunteering is true leadership, because giving your time for free in this economic world is not easy.
Yeah,
Uh,
my sister and my brother-in-law, two amazing people, they say always to me, they say to me that to know if you are fulfilled in your job, ask yourself, will you be happy to do this job for free? And I find it so powerful that it really helped me during my career to always think that way, is that what the job that I'm doing right now, will I be happy to do it for free? And if the question is yes, that's the power. And the volunteering, as you mentioned, nurture this thinking. And I
yeah,
find it really very, very powerful.
absolutely. So, Yusuf, thanks for your time. We were thinking about 45 minutes. We are 52 minutes, and we can
I,
continue, as you said,
I
for another
warned you.
couple of hours.
I warned you. I can go ahead with this topic forever.
Yeah, yeah. So thanks everyone for joining in. Whoever was part of this conversation throughout these 52 minutes, and whoever contributed in terms of your comments and your questions, please stay connected. I bring these learning sessions every Thursday, 12:05 p.m. Canada Eastern Time, uh, to help me learn and to help you connect with some great people. Yusuf, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We'll talk offline, and because when I end the stream, you will get disconnected automatically.
Yeah.
So all the best to you, and enjoy
Thank you.
rest of the week, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye for now.
Excellent.